So, picture this. Your top performing sales rep just walked out of a final presentation for a massive, a six-figure deal.
Oh, the tension.
Right. They are feeling incredibly confident. The prospect was nodding along. The energy in the room was just great. And then the prospect pulls up the slide deck on their own screen and points out a glaring discrepancy.
Oh, no. Let me guess. Pricing.
Exactly. Your rep just pitched using completely outdated pricing.
Yeah.
The momentum instantly evaporates.
Yeah, that deal is stalled.
Stalled, or might just die altogether. And why did this happen? It's not because your rep lacks skill, It's not because they didn't practice.
No, it's usually an administrative disaster.
Right. It happened because they spent like 5 hours this week frantically hunting through a disorganized, chaotic content repository. And in a rush before the meeting, they just downloaded the wrong PDF from 6 months ago.
It is an incredibly painful scenario, and unfortunately, it plays out every single day across B2B organizations.
Yeah.
When you look at the mechanics of a modern sales motion, this is the absolute definition of a preventable, unforced error. You are losing revenue not to a competitor, but to your own internal friction.
Which is exactly what we are tackling in today's deep dive. We are navigating the blueprint for choosing and implementing a B2B sales enablement platform in 2026.
And we've got some great source material for this.
We do. We are pulling our insights today from a massive, incredibly comprehensive buyer's guide put together by JP LeMaitre from Altissima Advisory.
The gold mine.
It really is. So for this conversation, we are speaking directly to you, assuming you're a VP of sales, maybe a sales enablement director, or a revenue operations leader.
The people actually making the decision.
Exactly. You need practical, ROI-driven takeaways. So we are skipping the marketing fluff because, well, you need to know how to actually fix the underlying problem.
And the stakes here are remarkably high. We aren't just talking about a lost deal here and there. The data shows that the average enterprise wastes between $150,000 to $400,000 annually on these enablement platforms.
Wow.
Yeah, and that includes the implementation services. And they only end up with what the industry calls shelfware.
Just sitting there gathering dust.
Exactly. You buy an incredibly expensive, shiny piece of software, and literally nobody on the sales floor uses it.
A $400,000 ghost town. But look, we are going to help you avoid that trap today. We're going to break down how to match a platform to your actual go-to-market motion, assess your team's real maturity level, and uncover the hidden implementation costs that most vendors will conveniently forget to mention during your demo.
Right, because before you even look at a single vendor's feature list or sit through a single product demonstration, you have to ruthlessly evaluate your own team.
Yeah, you really do.
You simply cannot prescribe a solution if you haven't accurately diagnosed the disease. Buying a sophisticated platform will not magically fix a broken internal process.
It just digitizes the mess.
Precisely. It will only digitize your existing chaos, making it faster and more expensive to be disorganized.
Okay, let's unpack this because the Altissima framework breaks down organizational readiness into 4 very distinct sales enablement maturity stages. And taking a hard look at where you fall is incredibly revealing.
It's usually a tough pill to swallow for leadership.
Oh, absolutely. So stage 1 is categorized as content chaos. This is where you are living in Google Drive, SharePoint, or just like a random Dropbox account.
A Wild West.
Exactly. There is 0 version control. Reps are firing off Slack messages at 10 p.m. asking, where is the latest competitive battle card?
And then sales and marketing just constantly point fingers at each other when a deal goes south due to bad materials.
Right, which is a highly reactive, really stressful state to operate in.
It is. But if you manage to survive that, an organization typically moves to stage 2, which is basic organization.
So what does that look like?
You might have shared cloud drives with agreed-upon folder structures and strict naming conventions. Training is mostly ad hoc. Maybe a manager shares their screen on a Zoom call to show a new rep the ropes.
Or you have a shared document with some cold calling scripts?
Yeah, it's slightly better, but you still have absolutely no analytics. You have no visibility into what content actually works or what materials are statistically moving the needle on your win rates.
Right. And then you graduate to stage 3, strategic enablement. For most mid-market companies, this is the promised land.
It's a huge step up.
It is. You finally have integrated training workflows. You have actual content analytics telling you that when reps use, say, this specific ROI calculator, the deal closes 20% faster.
You are giving reps role-specific recommendations right inside their CRM.
Exactly. You can actually trace a line from a marketing asset straight to pipeline progression.
And finally, stage 4 is revenue intelligence. This is the highly sophisticated enterprise-grade tier.
The shiny stuff.
Yeah, the really advanced features. At this stage, you have AI providing predictive insights. The platform is offering real-time content recommendations during live sales calls based on the specific words the prospect is saying.
That's wild.
It is. Your enablement data is deeply interwoven with your revenue outcomes, and it actually requires dedicated, full-time enablement operations talent just to manage the algorithms and the data flows.
Now, here is the harsh truth. Most organizations listening right now are sitting squarely at stage 1, maybe stage 2. But the leadership team goes to these massive vendor conferences in Las Vegas. They sit in the audience. They see these incredible, flashy demos for stage 4 revenue intelligence, and they get entirely seduced.
Happens every time.
It's exactly like a weekend jogger walking into a bike shop and buying a $10,000 carbon fiber racing bike. You are overbuying elite enterprise features that you literally do not have the muscle to use for at least 2 years.
Right.
And the sheer complexity of clipping into those pedals is just going to make you crash.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that self-assessment, admitting you are a weekend jogger, is the most critical step of the entire buying journey.
It saves you so much pain.
Absolutely. Understanding your baseline prevents 2 catastrophic outcomes. First, it prevents the scenario you just described. Overbuying and crippling your reps with a tool so overwhelmingly complex that they abandon it on day 3.
Which is how you get shelfware.
Exactly.
Right.
But secondly, it prevents underbuying. If you don't map your trajectory, you might purchase a cheap, rudimentary tool that your fast-growing team completely outgrows in 6 months.
And then you have to rip it out.
Right. You're forced to rip it out and start the whole painful migration process over again.
So assuming you have taken that hard look in the mirror, right? You know your maturity stage and you've accepted your reality. Now you need to know what the platform market looks like today.
Because it's moving fast.
Unbelievably fast. Because the Altisma analysis makes one thing very clear. If you are walking into purchasing discussions using selection criteria from even 18 months ago, you are already hopelessly behind.
Oh, completely.
The landscape for 2026 has completely shifted.
The evolution has been incredibly rapid. Things that vendors were charging massive premiums for just a couple of years ago, highly differentiating features are now absolute table stakes.
Like what?
Well, for example, AI content generation, automated metadata tagging, and natural language smart search. Every single major platform on the market does this out of the box today.
Wow. And it is not just the AI categorization. Native video capabilities are now a standard baseline, too.
Right.
And think about real-time battle card delivery via conversation intelligence. Platforms are integrating directly with tools like Gong or Chorus.
So seamless.
Yeah, so if you're on a Zoom call and the prospect mentions a competitor by name, the platform instantly pops up a battle card on your screen with objection-handling talk tracks.
That is no longer a futuristic add-on. That is expected functionality.
Right. Furthermore, strict security protocols like SOC 2, Type 2, and GDPR compliance aren't just for enterprise tiers anymore.
No, you absolutely need them.
Right. If you are selling in Europe, your enablement platform needs strict data residency controls. Otherwise, you literally can't legally deploy it. Regulated industries basically forced those requirements into standard offerings across the board.
It raised the floor for everybody.
Okay, hold on. I have to push back here.
Sure.
If every single platform has the exact same AI tagging, the exact same Gong integrations, and the exact same security baseline, aren't I just paying for the logo?
It can definitely feel that way.
I mean, how are these not just identical clones of each other? How do you even begin to evaluate them when the feature checklists look entirely identical?
What's fascinating here is that the real differentiators haven't disappeared. They have just shifted below the surface.
Yeah. Okay, how so?
They have moved away from broad feature categories like, do you have AI, yes or no?
Yeah.
And down into highly specific use cases and the nuances of accessibility.
Got it.
For instance, yes, everyone has AI. But the quality of that AI, its ability to deeply understand the specific context of your complex buyer's journey and how effectively it trains on your unique proprietary data without hallucinating that, is where platforms radically diverge.
So it's about the execution.
Exactly. It's about the mechanism, not just the marketing bullet point.
And accessibility is a massive dividing line, too. Mobile first is no longer just a buzzword where a vendor slaps a clunky web wrapper onto a smartphone app and calls it a day.
Exactly. True offline access and natively tablet-optimized interfaces dictate whether your field sales teams will actually adopt the tool.
Right, because of where they actually work.
Think about the physical reality of the job. If a rep is deep inside a concrete manufacturing facility or in the basement of a hospital with absolutely zero cell service.
The AI means nothing.
Right. A brilliant cloud-only AI recommendation engine is entirely useless to them. They need bulletproof offline accessibility to pull up a technical spec sheet or a compliance document right then and there.
Which perfectly illustrates why mapping the tool to your exact company profile is so critical.
It's everything.
If your problem isn't finding the PDF, but ensuring your rep actually knows what to say when they open it, you need a totally different architecture. You have to look at your deal complexity, your team distribution, and your content volume. So let's break down the major players and where they actually excel.
Sounds good. We can start with Highspot. The current landscape positions Highspot as the definitive leader for content-centric organizations.
Okay.
If you have massive, sprawling, highly complex content libraries across multiple product lines and geographies, Highspot's architecture is incredibly strong.
They handle that volume really well.
They do. They have excellent content-to-revenue analytics, showing you exactly how specific marketing materials influence win rates. They also heavily feature smart pages, which allow reps to dynamically create highly personalized microsite buyer experiences without needing to pull in a graphic designer.
Which is awesome. But the trade-off with Highspot is the administrator experience, right?
Yeah, it is.
It has a significantly steeper learning curve for the people trying to set it up and maintain it. And traditionally, their pure training and coaching features have lagged a bit behind their competitors.
That's a fair assessment.
Now, if training is your primary bottleneck, well, that requires a shift in focus. What if you need to prove to an auditor that a rep is certified? That brings us to Seismic. Seismic is the heavyweight champion for enterprise training, especially if you are in highly regulated industries like healthcare, life sciences, or finance.
Absolutely. Seismic's core strength lies in its deeply integrated learning management system, or LMS.
It's very robust.
It is. They offer incredibly sophisticated onboarding workflows, AI-driven pitch coaching, and strict, undeniable compliance tracking. If a regulatory law changes and you need to prove that, 500 field reps reviewed and passed a test on the new documentation before they could legally sell the product,
Seismic handles that.
Seismic handles that massive compliance workflow beautifully. But the trade-off is immense complexity. It can be incredibly overwhelming for small or even mid-sized teams to navigate.
And it takes forever to roll out.
Yeah, because you have to map all those regulatory workflows and integrate with HR databases, you are looking at a brutal 3 to 6 month implementation timeline.
Wow. Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. Let's put this into a real-world scenario. Say I'm running a highly distributed field team. I don't need heavy compliance, and I don't have 10,000 marketing PDFs.
Correct.
My reps are constantly doing physical facility tours, walking through massive warehouses with terrible Wi-Fi, selling physical equipment. I need them to have instant access to product specs on an iPad, and I need them to actually like using the app. Who is my secret weapon out of this lineup?
Based on that precise physical reality, Showpad is your answer.
Really?
Yeah. Showpad is widely considered the king of mobile and offline access. It integrates content and training seamlessly, but its crown jewel is an incredibly intuitive user interface that drives very fast field adoption.
That makes a lot of sense.
And this highlights exactly why comparing feature checklists in isolation is a trap. You might look at a spreadsheet and see that Seismic has a superior AI coaching module, or Highspot has deeper marketing analytics.
But it doesn't matter if you're offline.
Exactly. The best coaching module in the world is utterly useless if your rep is standing next to a frustrated client in a dead zone and cannot pull up the required spec sheet to answer a live question. Showpad's offline architecture solves the actual physical reality of your sales motion.
You have to align the tool to the reality of the job, not the fantasy of the boardroom.
Well said.
Now, if your main problem isn't content at all, maybe your content is fine. But you have incredibly high rep turnover and you need to get new hires ramped up and selling in 30 days instead of 90, there's Mindtickle.
Oh, Mindtickle is great for that.
Yeah. Mindtickle puts sales readiness, gamification, and intense skills development first. Content management is a secondary function for them. It is a fantastic engine for rapid onboarding and continuous skill reinforcement.
And we should also note that the market has evolved to include niche alternatives solving very specific workflow problems.
Right.
There is Guru, which acts as a browser extension. It doesn't force reps to log into a separate portal. It delivers in-workflow knowledge, hovering right over their CRM or email client exactly when they need it.
Which reps love.
They do.
Uh-huh.
And there is Allego, which takes a video-first approach. Allego leans heavily into asynchronous peer learning. A rep can record their pitch practice at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, and a manager can review it and leave timestamp feedback on Wednesday morning, saving hours of scheduled Zoom time.
Okay, so let's say you've done the work, you've audited your team, you've chosen the perfect platform, and you sign the contract for the $50 to $150 per user per month licensing fee. You're ready to roll, right?
Not even close.
Wrong. The biggest shock for sales leaders and where so many initiatives just die is the hidden total cost of ownership and the brutal reality of implementation.
Oh, the total cost of ownership, or TCO. That is where enablement budgets go to die.
It's scary.
It really is.
Yeah.
The per-user licensing fee is just the tip of the iceberg. The industry data reveals that the implementation process alone typically costs an organization between $20,000 and $150,000 in year one.
Wait, if the software is already built and living in the cloud, where exactly is that extra $150,000 going?
It goes toward the massive hidden costs of making the software actually function within your highly specific internal ecosystem.
Ah, integrations.
Right. You have to pay developers for custom API integrations to hook the platform into your specific CRM instance or your proprietary quoting systems. You have to pay for internal resources or hire expensive external consultants to handle content mapping and migration.
And the personnel cost.
Yeah. For any deployment over 100 reps, you almost always need to hire a dedicated sales enablement operations manager, a full-time salary, just to administer the platform, manage the permissions, and analyze the data.
And the content migration piece alone is huge. You wouldn't pay professional movers to box up your trash and carry it into a beautiful new house.
No, you wouldn't.
But when companies migrate to a new enablement platform without ruthlessly auditing their content first, they are paying thousands of dollars in implementation fees and consultant hours to digitize, tag, and migrate PDFs from 2019 that no one should ever look at again.
It's a waste of money.
You have to clean house before you move.
Exactly. To navigate this minefield, the Altisma analysis outlines a strict 6-step selection framework. And there are 3 critical rules you cannot skip.
Okay, what's rule number 1?
Step 1, you must avoid the committee trap. You need clear, decisive decision makers. If you require consensus from 20 different people across sales, marketing, IT, and legal, you'll suffer from analysis paralysis.
Oh, design by committee is the worst.
You will end up compromising and buying a watered-down tool that has features marketing loves, but that sales actively hates.
Step 2 of that framework is how you handle the vendor demos. Do not let the vendor lead the witness.
Oh, they love doing that.
Right. Do not let them use their sanitized, perfectly optimized sandbox environment where everything magically works with one click. You have to mandate structured demos using your actual content.
Make them sweat a little.
Hand them a messy, deeply technical case study and give them a specific scenario. Say, show me exactly the clicks required for a rep to find this document on an iPad while riding on a train with spotty cellular service. Make them prove it works in your reality.
And step 3 is the pilot. You must execute a pilot rollout before committing to a full enterprise-wide deployment. Select a small, diverse group of users, maybe 10 of your best reps and 10 of your struggling reps.
Just a test group.
Right. Set highly specific success metrics for a 30-day window. If the platform fails the pilot, it is substantially cheaper to walk away from the contract then, rather than discovering the fatal flaw after you've forced it onto 500 field reps.
Which leads perfectly into the final hurdle, which is adoption. Executive sponsorship is absolutely mandatory. Your VP of sales or your chief revenue officer cannot simply sign the check and disappear.
No, they have to be visible.
They have to actively champion the tool.
Yeah.
If the VP isn't pulling up the platform to run their Monday morning pipeline reviews, the reps will immediately realize it isn't actually important.
It sets the tone.
Furthermore, you need a phased 12-week rollout. You cannot just flip a switch on a Monday, send a mass email, and expect hundreds of people to magically change their daily habits.
This raises an important question about how we fundamentally measure the success of these massive investments.
How do you mean?
Well, a major pitfall is that organizations overmeasure mere adoption, which usually just means running a report on how many reps logged into the system this week. but they vastly undermeasure actual business impact.
Ah, right. Are win rates actually improving?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are ramp times for your new hires getting shorter? Logging into a portal does not equal selling.
If they log in but spend 20 minutes clicking around in pure frustration, that's negative ROI.
Precisely. Knowledge is only valuable when it is effortlessly accessible and successfully applied. If the new expensive tool requires a rep to make 5 different clicks to find a pricing sheet, and their old, messy, disorganized shared drive only required 3 clicks,
They'll go back to the drive.
human nature dictates they will abandon the new tool immediately. The software must remove friction, not add administrative burden.
So bringing this all together for you, if you are leading a revenue team and staring down this massive platform decision, remember your core takeaways.
Keep these in mind.
First, diagnose your maturity stage. Honestly, do not buy a stage 4 AI predictive tool for a stage 1 team that just needs clean folders. Second, align the platform with the actual physical realities of your field team and your deal complexity.
Don't buy an enterprise compliance tool if you just need mobile offline access.
Exactly. Third, budget for the massive hidden implementation and ops costs so you don't run out of runway before the tool is even functional.
And finally, remember that executive championship is the only defense against software becoming shelfware. Your competitive advantage in the market is your actual product and the talent of your people, not your ability to build, maintain, or troubleshoot internal software ecosystems.
So, what does this all mean? As you look toward implementing these incredibly powerful AI-driven tools to scale your revenue, we want to leave you with one final thought to ponder.
Right, because the entire industry heavily emphasizes using AI to surface content based on what has successfully won deals in the past. It analyzes your historical win data.
Which sounds great in theory.
It does. But think about the implications of that. What happens when buyer behavior or macroeconomic conditions shift dramatically overnight?
Wow.
If your platform's AI is trained strictly and rigidly on the exact methods of how you won deals yesterday, could relying on those automated recommendations actually blind your reps to the innovative, unproven ways they need to adapt and sell tomorrow?